All right, everybody. Welcome to challenge number 3, start sorting a container at a time. So this is a challenge where we really get into the nitty-gritty of everything. I'll give my little disclaimer here for the new people who are just jumping in and joining us on this third challenge. I'll give the whole lesson, and then at the end I'll answer questions. So you have a little question box on your screen where you can type in any questions that you have. So as you think them up during the class, go ahead and type them in, and then I'll get to them at the end. I might answer them on the way through, but just in case we'll get them covered at the end. I don't want you to forget those. So type them in whenever they pop into your head. You can't see me sitting at home in my fuzzy bunny slippers, but you should be able to hear my voice and see the screen. This whole lesson is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it later on the Resolve to Get Organized Challenge and Information page. You should get an email later today or early tomorrow with all the links that we talk about during the session and a link to that page as well, so you'll be able to find it easily. So let's jump right in with this week's, I already talked about this Q&A session, so we'll skip that slide. Let's jump right in with this week's winner, which is Claudia Thibodeau. And just a note from her about how hard she's been working and all the things that she's gotten done. So congratulations, Claudia. And this format looks a little different than the previous winner. Claudia is not a Facebooker, so she sent directly to me her progress notice. So if you aren't on Facebook but you want to be included for the prize drawing each week, make sure you email me with a note that says you're getting your work done, and I'll put you in for the prize drawing. So congratulations, Claudia, and we will get a gift certificate out to you via email. If you don't see one, please feel free to email me and let me know that it hasn't arrived, and I will track it down for you. So our goal for this webinar is to understand how to combine your embellishments for easy access. And one of the things that happens with scrapbooking and other crafts as well is that we tend to containerize everything rather than combining things. And so it's sort of a pitch in the industry, and every magazine you read and every picture that you see of a really neat scrapbook room where people have taken containers and put all their brads together and all their eyelets together and all their ribbons together and all their stickers and all their paper and all their die cuts and all that stuff. Well, as we talked about before, that doesn't give you a good mental map of where things are. It doesn't help you remember things, and things don't come up when you need them. So that's why it's really important to combine everything. This is really hard for a lot of people because we've sort of been trained by the industry to buy individual containers. But I promise you, if you combine all your stuff, you will not only be able to conquer the organization of it, but you will use so much more of it because you won't be relying on your memory to find those things. So if you kind of think about it like your silverware drawer, right? You wouldn't take your knives and put them in a basket, and your spoons and put them in a jar, and your forks and put them in a drawer, because when you're ready to set the table, it would take forever to track everything down. So you put everything you're going to use together. I know you've heard that earlier in other webinars. So you want to keep the things together that you would use together. So try to keep that underlying mantra going as you're organizing the rest of your supplies. And then we're going to also begin the process of sorting this week as well. So the first thing you need to do to be ready for this is gather the things that you need to complete the challenge. So the sorting templates that you made last week, if you made them, you're going to be able to reuse them. If you used dividers last week, then now's the time to make those sorting templates for your themes. You're going to need Ziploc bags or file folders or binders or scrap rack pages or totes or whatever your organization tool is. You need to have that ready to go at this point. You need to have a plan. Where will the things go once they've been sorted, stored, cataloged? They're going to go into your organized only zone. So at this point, if you've filled your organized only zone with paper, you're going to need to expand it out and get ready to receive the next sort of batch of organized supplies into that area. So one of the challenges this week is going to be to make sure your organized only zone is big enough to receive everything you organize. And then finally, you need to have your purge box handy. And as we've said before, your purge box is now your new best friend. It's going to be with you all the time. Sorting templates we talked a little bit about last week, but for those of you who weren't here last week or went with the dividers last week, you want to create them out of 12 by 18 paper if possible. And again, that's the construction paper size. Construction paper is kind of expensive. Not a lot of us have that around anymore, but you can go to the dollar store and get a children's drawing tablet at the dollar store, and they're like 12 by 18, so for $1 you can get, you know, however many, 25 pages or whatever. You might need 2 of them depending on how much stuff you have. That's a great place to get that big paper. You're going to write the main category in the top left corner and your list of subcategories down the side beneath it. So here's a couple of examples. You can see in the picture on the bottom left, those were the original sorting templates that I used, and you can see there's a tote there of supplies next to it. Well, I did those on 12 by 12 paper, but once you start sorting, you're going to cover up whatever it says on that paper. So it's much better if you can use something that's 12 by 18. So the picture on the right is showing you those 12 by 18 sorting templates where I have down the left side the category, and then I have plenty of space on the right side to actually stack stuff up. Now, after you stack stuff up on these 12 by 18 sheets, it also makes it really easy to pick up the sheet if you're not able to do the next step and put it back into the tote as you sort. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well, but there's a couple benefits to the bigger sheets there. Get set. Spread your sorting templates out across the floor, over the furniture, on the countertops, wherever you have room, and begin the sorting process. So you can see this is actually a picture that was submitted from one of the previous challenges of this gal is sorting all her supplies on the dining room table. And you can see this is obviously the rainbow section where she's got all her rainbow supplies grouped together on the table. Go. Sort just one container or less at a time. Once it's sorted, group the items in each category by size, put them into your storage pages if you're using a scrap rack or big Ziploc bags or file folders, whatever you're using. Now, if you're not using scrap rack pages, but you're using the Ziploc bags or the file folders, you want to be sure that your smallest items are in the front, so you're working from smallest to largest, so you have the most visibility for those items. Now, of course, sorting them by size is important if you're using scrap rack pages because you want to get the maximum use out of each page. So it still has many pockets. So you want to put all your small stuff together in like the Sweet 16 or your medium stuff in the Fabulous 4 and so on. So then you're going to put each page, bag, or file folder into the appropriate section of your 4-section system and then start on your next container. So how will those 4 sections look? So here's an example. This is the alphabet section. This is a 12 by 12 alphabet, and you can see I'm obviously using scrap rack pages here. But different types of pocket pages are going to accommodate different kinds of supplies. So this is the embellishment storage page. Again, the alphabet section. Theme sections, you've got the baseball or sports section, and then a travel section. But you can see you've got all those different things grouped together. So whether it's an embellishment, a paper, an overlay, whatever it is, if it fits that theme or category, it's going to go in there. You can also see in this themes page on the baseball page, folded up in the bottom right-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner. I had to look at my hands to choose if that was right or left. You can see folded up, there's a page layout idea that I tore out of Creating Keepsakes magazine, a baseball page layout. So if you get magazines or download pictures off the internet or whatever, put them right into the section where you're going to use them so that you'll remember that you liked that layout idea or whatever. And then when you go to do those baseball pages, that idea will pop up for you. You won't have to go back to your shelves and dig through magazines or search your computer or whatever for that idea. It'll be right there. So you're going to have the picture right there with the supplies. And that comes in handy on a number of occasions. We'll talk about them more as we go through the series. But anytime you can combine anything so that you remember that you have it and that you wanted to use it, you're going to use so much more. It's going to be so much better. If this was an online layout too and you didn't want to print it, you could always just put a note in there that says, you know, that you had saved it on your computer somewhere. But just something to bring it back to your brain that you liked it and where to go to find it. Calendar and season. So this is 4th of July. This is a perfect 6th page, but so different holiday and seasonal materials are in there. Now you can see here this pocket page just has one thing, or I guess the flag one has 2 things in each pocket. And this is just an example page. For me, I load up pages with 3, 4, 5 items in a pocket. Other people just put 1 item in a pocket, Merle, who we've talked about before, and I saw her name pop up. She's with us today. We talked last week. She puts a piece of a scrap of paper in the pocket, and then she puts one thing on each side of the scrap of paper, so when she turns the page, she can clearly see the two things and exactly what they are. So there's a lot of options there, and I always get asked, how much can you put in a page, in a pocket? And you can put as much as you're comfortable with in the pocket, or as little. Here's some rainbow section ideas. You can see it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's flowers or tags or frames or tiles. The goal is when you need something blue and you go to your blue section, you see everything that you've got blue. So you're not relying on your memory to say, oh, I have the twine and twine is over here, or I have the ribbon and the ribbon's over here, or the flowers or the buttons or whatever. You just look at that page and you say, this page needs something blue. You might even say, this page needs a blue button. And when you go to blue to find those buttons, you also remember that you had those flowers or those brads or something else that's going to work really well that you would have forgotten about had it been in a container somewhere else in your room or space. So it really does, not only does it consolidate and put everything into a much smaller, more accessible space, it also is really inspiring in terms of using all those other products that you have that you've just forgotten that even existed maybe. And then don't forget your scraps. So we talked about scraps and we did paper sorting. You want to definitely incorporate those in as well so that you can actually see them and use them too. And then you're going to do the labels. So I would strongly advise, these are the scrap rack dividers and little stick-on label tabs, but I would really advise you to use sticky notes in the beginning process because you're going to probably change and evolve your themes. But get those sticky notes onto your tabs or onto your pages or file folders or whatever so that as you're working, it's easy to put things away. And then once you get everything sorted, then you could permanently label things because you may think, oh, I don't need a sports section. I'm just going to have a football section. And then in the process of sorting and organizing, you realize that you actually do have baseball and soccer and some other sports things. And so then you're going to consolidate all to sports and then tab behind. So you can see even here we have the big plastic divider has sports on it, and then behind that we use the stick-on tabs to divide down baseball, basketball, golf, soccer, tennis. So, but using sticky notes is going to help you until you're ready to actually label those things. So if you're using a scrap rack, this is a double base. This is how it's going to look when you are when you're all done and ready to go. So literally everything right there at your fingertips and out in front of you. So I said in the beginning to just sort one container at a time. And why is that important? It's important because you want to avoid getting everything spread out and then having to quit or gather it all up. And I know for people who've been, this is their third session, you've heard me say this before. One of the things that happens with an organization project is that we bite off more than we can chew or more than we can finish in one sitting or one day or however much time we have. And then what happens is we get these piles spread out everywhere and realize, oh my gosh, it's dinner time, I've got to clear the table. And so all of a sudden everything gets dumped back into a tote to be resorted. And then the reaction to that, when you go back to look at that tote, the reaction is not, oh, I had to make dinner and so I scooped it in the tote. The reaction is, well, I tried this and it doesn't work because obviously I have this tote that's all a mess now. So you want to do tasks that you can complete from start to finish. So even if you're only sorting a handful of stickers, once you get those stickers sorted, put them where they belong in the 4-section system. Then take the next handful of stickers and sort those and put them away. So each time you're actually completing the task, and it's going to really prevent you from being overwhelmed or frustrated by having to redo things all the time. I hope that makes sense. I know I kind of get on a tangent about that, but you really would just want to work in a range that you know you're going to be able to complete the task. The other thing about that is when you're doing these small projects and getting just a little bit done, and it's going into your organized only space, then when you're ready to actually scrapbook, even if you've only done a few things, those things you can actually use them and get to them and start seeing the benefits of this 4-section system of organization. And you know when you're reaping that benefit, even though you're not finished with the whole organization project, it really reinforces and motivates you to stay on track and stay with the same thing because you're getting that value right away of being organized in that sense. So things like buttons, brads, eyelets, bulky things, what do we do with these things? You know, look at these cute little button containers. They're adorable, right? They totally match the room, my scrapbook room, but they just take up too much space and they're hard to access. And if I wanted to go do a proper class with them, I would have to like take all 4 jars and put them in the bottom of my tote where you know they're either going to bust open and spill out or I'm going to forget that they're there. So take things like this and put them into small Ziploc bags. If you have tons of buttons, I know some of this, you know, you get that opportunity about 500 red buttons. Just put at least one little Ziploc bag into your scrap rack or into your 4-section system, and then put the rest of them in kind of in a backstock area. But, you know, have enough that you can complete a project, and then when you run out of them, you can go to the backstock area and refill them. But try to condense things down so they're taking up the least space and they're the most accessible. For things like ribbon and fiber, some of us are ribbon junkies and we buy big spools of ribbon, and some of us just buy a yard or so of ribbon at a time. Like I said with other things when we were doing the paper sorting, what you don't want to do is reinvent the wheel every time. So if you're buying 60 yards of ribbon, you don't want to take it off one tool and put it on another tool. Now, the picture that you see on the right side there is our ribbon and fiber storage cards, and they hold, you know, a couple dozen ribbons or fibers in one small space by color or by theme. So if you have less ribbon, that's a great way to go. It'll go right into your scrap rack. But if you're using ribbon on spools, just when you have it on the spool holder on your wall, what you really want to do is make sure that it's in the same 4-section system. It's actually only 3 because there's no alphabets, but so that you have your rainbow ribbons together and then your theme ribbons together. So you might have, you know, sports ribbons with soccer balls, or you might have, you know, I know like Eyelet Outlet has all these ribbons that match their theme. So you might have a camping ribbon or a tool ribbon or whatever, but you got your themes together and then you've got your calendar year ribbons together. So what you're trying to do is organize your stuff so that your brain can just go to one place. Oh, I'm working on Christmas. I wonder what I have for Christmas ribbons. Boom, you go right to calendar year and season section, and there's all your Christmas ribbons where they belong. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so stickers and die cuts, I kind of talked a little bit about this already, but you just want to start with that small stack, a container or half a container, whatever is manageable in a short amount of time. So even like this drawer, this basket, just pick up a handful of them, sort them, and then put them away in the 4-section system. Take the next handful, sort them, and put them away. And you'll get that benefit right away, that sort of instant gratification. This week's challenge is to sort and store 1 container a day for 4 out of the next 7 days. And a container can be anything. It can be a little tiny box. It can be a drawer. It can be a huge tote. But 4 container a day for 4 out of the next 7 days. And then I want you to add, if you didn't finish sorting your paper, which I know some of you did, but some of you found that you had mountains more of paper than you actually thought you had, as another surprise. So I want you to sort 4 to 6 inches of paper, and then either post your progress on Facebook or email me with your progress so I can make sure that you get into the weekly drawing for the progress prize, we're calling it this time around. So make sure that you post that. Now, for those of you who haven't downloaded the workbook yet or don't realize there is a workbook, if you go to the website, there's a workbook there, and it has all the notes and challenges printed out in the workbook, and you can just download it and print it from home. If for some reason you can't download it, I know some people have trouble, you can email us and just put in the subject line, workbook please, and we will send you a direct PDF of the workbook. All right, so here's our famous Chinese proverb, the longest journey begins with a single step. And you've already taken that single step. As a matter of fact, you're 3 or 4 steps into this journey. So you're well on your way. So be excited, be proud of yourself. I know I've gotten lots of posts from people who are seeing that progress and really being motivated by what they've done so far. So once you begin this sorting process now you're set up. Now you have your 4-section system ready to go. So from this point forward, anytime you create a project or you pull things out of, unorganized stash, when you put them away, you're going to put them into your 4-section system. When you buy new things, you're going to put them right into your 4-section system. So don't allow new products to pile up. If you come across something that you don't already have a theme or category set up for, don't just put it in a pile that says, I'll get to it later. Start that theme or category. So don't be afraid to just jump in as you come across things and start putting them away where they belong, because you're all set up. You have a plan. You have a mental map. Everything is going to be easy from this point forward, with the exception of purging. I know some of us are still struggling with giving things away, but hopefully it will get easier and easier as you recognize that you have plenty of stuff. I got an email from a gal the other day, and she said to me, "I don't know why I'm so afraid to purge." She said, "This has really been a lesson for me. As I sort through my supplies, I realized that I could probably purge half my stuff, and I still have enough stuff that if I scrapbooked every day for the rest of my life, I would have enough stuff that I never had to buy any more stuff." And so once you kind of get that realization of what you have and that you have plenty, it'll get easier and easier to purge, I promise. So, all right, so this little bit of discipline of putting things away into the 4-section system, just the little stuff that you come across, is really going to go a long way to help you get organized and also to stay organized, the practice of putting it away. So I talked a little bit about scrap rack pages earlier, and I've had some questions about them. And so I just thought I'd give a little note here. There are 5 basic scrap rack pages, and that's these 5 right here. Now, we have on the website a tool that we don't make, but we do carry it on the website that's called a hot craft tool. Any one of these pages that you see here can be modified using the hot craft tool. So if you're looking for a particular page configuration, maybe you want the double extra long page and you want the big long pocket on the top, but you want on the bottom, but 3 small pockets on the top, that hot craft tool will allow you to modify those pages. So when I send out the email from today's lesson, I will include a link to the hot craft tool and the pages. So I know people are looking for the 4-in-a-row page that we don't make anymore. Well, the supersized single can easily be turned into 4 long columns for storing borders just by using that hot craft tool. So I'll include that link in the email that goes out today. And there's a little video. There's a video about the pages too, so you can see all the pages and all the benefits and what they hold and all that. But then there's also a video about the hot craft tool and how it works, so you can actually follow along and see how it works. So basic links, the Facebook group, and remember it is the 2011 Get Org Challenge group. We can't change the name because we have too many members in the group, unfortunately. And then the page video, that's the link for that, and the website, of course, and then the challenge information page video is there as well. So that's where that bottom link, that is where this video gets posted, and the different links to things like the Facebook page and the download for the workbook, they're all on that page. So you can jot that page down now, but it's also going to come to you in the email this afternoon. Remember, if you're not getting the emails, the follow-up emails, is probably because at some point you opted out of our email list. So if you, again, if you go to the home page, I was going to say I'll put a link to it in the email, but you won't get it. Go to our home page, like thescraprack.com, and when you click into the website, there's the video of Christine McKay, and right below that it says Join Our Mailing List. And so you can click on Join Our Mailing List and put your information in. And if at some point you have opted out, it will re-put you in. It'll send you an email that says, "Are you sure you want to do this? You've opted out in the past," or something like that. You say yes, and then it'll reactivate you so that you'll be able to get the emails from the challenge group today. All right, so whoops, wrong one. So let's I'm going to open up the question pane now, and we'll get to those questions from everybody. And I know this question pane causes some black boxes on your screen. So I apologize for that, and hopefully it won't be long before GoToWebinar gets that fixed so we don't have quite so much trouble with it. So let me get to the beginning here and see. Got a lot of good morning greetings. There's Merle. Hi, Merle. Oh, Merle's there with Jake, her big dog, her big cute dog. Myra says, what I used to have all my pages in my scrap rack upright instead of sagging. So this is a great question, Myra. If your pages are sagging, you probably have your scrap rack set up on its back. So when you put your scrap rack together and you slide the pin through the hinges, and then you turn it around, there's that, upright base with the Velcro, and you stick your wings on and your spinders on, and it works, but the pages kind of sag and drag across the tabletop. and it's because it needs to be tipped over so it's sitting on its 4 little rubber feet. It's the biggest setup problem anybody has with the scrap rack. And there's some images on the website of how to change that. And you can send me pictures of your scrap rack, and I'll tell you if it's set up that way or not. The other reason that there's page sag for people is that you don't have the dividers in. So if you're not using dividers, then your pages will be saggy, or if the base unit is set up wrong. So either one. But the base unit tends to be the biggest question. So hello, everybody. I have all these greetings from early. Betty says, just wanted to let everyone know that this works also on organizing all your papers for genealogy. Good job, Betty. Absolutely. Joyce says, I have started these organization skills at my students' houses. We have completed 3 scrapbooking rooms now. They had 20 or more storages or bags to open, and some were still in brand new packaging from 3 to 6 months ago. Now they are ready to scrap. Thank you for your tips. Thank you for sharing it, Joyce. Yes, and please feel free to share this information. You know, one of the things about scrapbooking is it's an industry that people join the industry because they have friends and family who are excited about it. And so if people get overwhelmed and frustrated, then they stop scrapbooking, and then the manufacturers don't make cool stuff for us anymore. So the more people we can get involved and enjoying scrapbooking, the more cool stuff manufacturers are going to come out with, and the more fun we're going to have. So please share the ideas. In the first session, we talked about the purge box, and someone mentioned donating to Joplin, Missouri. Is there a specific address a box of goodies that others can use can be sent to? And that's from Melissa. And so, Melissa, I'm not sure if you're on the Facebook group, but whoever knows the address in Joplin, can you please post it on Facebook? And then, Melissa, if you're not on Facebook, you can email me, and I'll track that down for you. And it has been posted on a Facebook page in the past as well, so I know it's out there. Or you could ask on the Facebook page, because the gal from Joplin might not be in this round, so people come and do a couple of rounds of it, but she may not actually be listening today. So you could also ask on the Facebook page, and someone would be able to help you. Leslie says, dumb question. I went online last night to Walmart, Target, and even Ziploc websites. I can't find out which size is closest to 13 by 13. I'm so far behind. I need to put things in bags before I can begin to separate nicely. You know, what I'm going to do, we have at the office a bunch of Ziploc bags that are like 13 by 15 or something. And I'm going to have Karen, I'm going to have her separate those out into like groups of 10 bags, and we'll get them up on our website. They used to be on the website a long time ago because people love them, and I will get them back up on the website, and then and I'm sure it'll be more cost effective. But yeah, I don't know how to find the sizes from Ziploc like at Target or whatever, but I have a bunch of them. I'm happy to, Karen might not be so happy to sort them, but I'll be happy to put them up on the website again. Sharon says, when I put more than 1 or 2 things in a pocket, things fall out when I turn the page of my scrap rack. Any suggestions? And again, I'm going to say that it's most likely that you have your scrap rack set up on its back, because then the pages are too straight up and down, so they fold over on the corners, and then things will fall out. It's just because it's too straight. So I would check that first, Sharon. If that's not the case, please send me an email, and I will send me some pictures via email, and I will take a look and let you know what I can do. Lakeitha says, Tiffany, would you recommend taking embellishments out of its original package before placing them inside pockets, because one may decide to sell or put them in the purge box later? I would say that it's kind of fun to put things away in their packaging, because when you take it out of the pocket, it's fun to kind of open it, and it's new. I don't know. That's kind of a goofy girl thing. I think that we like to open our own stuff, you know. But it's so much more efficient, and you have to think that you're using up space in your scrap rack with packaging, or in those pockets with packaging, or in Ziploc bags with the packaging, and it's added weight. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but every little ounce counts when you start moving things around to go to a crop or class. So as much fun as it is to leave in the package, I've switched over to taking everything out of the packaging before I put it in my scrap rack. So You could throw it in the purge box, obviously, without the packaging. You could even sell it later without the packaging or put it into a Ziploc bag or something to sell it. But hopefully you're going to use it now that you can see it. So if you think that at some point you might sell it, that might be a sign that it needs to be sold now or go into the purge box, actually. Carolyn says, I am seeing the slides late, like now. You are talking about ribbon, but I am seeing the buttons, brads, and eyelets slide. I'm not sure. I'm changing the slides. It might just be your bandwidth. That could easily be the problem. Just that you have different bandwidth, and so it's slow uploading. But I don't know. Sorry. Using the theme method works also for sorting your greeting cards you make. I got a card class once a month, and we make assorted cards, and I'm filing them that same way. Perfect. It's a perfect use. It's amazing. Once you start sort of going through this organization process, you'll find things all over your house that can be categorized differently, maybe not necessarily themes or colors or whatever, but you'll start to combine and just that little, you'll hear my little voice, combine and conquer. How can you combine and conquer? So, you know, some people in their linen closets, they have their flat sheets, their fitted sheets, and their pillowcases. Well, you know, whenever you change a linen, you're going to change everything. So take your flat sheets and open them up, and inside them put your folded up pillowcases and your folded up, you know, fitted sheet, and then fold the flat sheet back over so you have this nice little package. So when you're going to change sheets, it's just one thing you have to grab out of the linen closet rather than, you know, stacking things up and grabbing them. It works great, too, for kids. So if your kids are responsible for changing their own bed linen, it's easy to hand them that bundle to change their own bed linen. So you'll start to think about this. How can I combine and conquer? What can I combine and conquer? Putting things together I use together. So it'll become, hopefully, it'll become part of just your whole, how your brain works when you start thinking about that. Claudia says, Claudia, congratulations, she's our winner. Her little name popped up here. How do you organize things like glitter and beads? Just put them in those small Ziploc bags, Claudia, and put them right in the color. So here's an interesting thing about glitter. You know, a little bit of glitter goes a long way, right? So you don't need a whole 3-ounce jar of glitter when you're going to do something. So if you just take a small Ziploc bag, let's say you have a big jar of red glitter, fill that Ziploc bag with red glitter, close up the bag, put it into your red section. Now if you're going to go to a proper class, when you say you're working on Christmas, you're going to take your rainbow section, you know you need the red glitter. You don't have to take that whole jar of red glitter because you know you have plenty of red glitter in your red section, and out the door you go to that proper class. Now, the red glitter, which I mentioned earlier about a backstock area, the rest of the red glitter is going to go next to that other 450 red brads and that 300 red buttons and all the other red things that you've got in big quantities for a great deal. So you're working with your red section and you need to refill your red glitter bag. You can look at all the other things, the buttons and the brads and the eyelets at the same time and say, okay, these can all be refilled. When you go to your backstock area, you refill your buttons, your eyelets, your brads, and your glitter all at the same time. So it's always full. But you know where all your backstock is by color, and it's all going to refill those little Ziploc bags at the same time. I hope that makes sense. Same with beads. So Claudia also asked, oh, and what about beads? Same thing. So, you know, if you have lots of them, just put them in a or you know, if you have tons of them, you're going to have backstock. If you just have, you know, a small amount, put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the right color or theme where they belong. Kelly says, can you address where I find the organized download again? The workbook download is on the Resolve to Get Organized update page. So if you're looking at the home page of our website, or if you click into the home page, on the left side you'll see that column of buttons. The very top button is the Resolve button, and if you click on that, that'll take you to the updates page, and the workbook download link is in there. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but right below that is a button that says Project Organization. And Project Organization is a weekly article or video class that really breaks the things we talk about here down into even smaller steps. And so you guys now are ahead of Project Organization. It's sort of scheduled out to be a class a week for the entire year, so it is like tiny bits of information. But if I'm talking about things that you really want more information on, or you want more pictures or whatever, if you go to that project organization, you may see that there's an article there with more pictures or more information. So if you're looking for even more details, that's what that project organization is. Lakita says, did you get rid of the 50-pack of supersized singles? We didn't get rid of it. We sold out of it. So unfortunately, we don't have any more of them, but they will come back. So Mary says, I'm having trouble sorting the pads of paper. What would make it easier? Just can't seem to get the themes or sections in my mind. So it'll just make it easier then if you just put that little tag on the edge, and maybe you're going to sort them. Each pad of paper has some theme to it, whether it's color-based or style-based, or it's girlish, or it's holiday or whatever. So just put that tag on the end, and don't worry about it. Unless you're short on paper, and I have a suspicion that that's not the case for any of us. As long as you've got those pads with the rest of your paper, which is one of the things about putting things in paper storage boxes where they can go vertical, so they take up less space and are more accessible. Just get that tag on there that says what it is. At least it's in the vicinity where you're actually going to see it and pull it out. You don't want to stack all your paper stacks somewhere else so that you have to remember and go to them. So just try to get them in your paper area, preferably with a major group, so that you will look at them when you see them. And if they're not getting that use, they may be something that you want to sell at the garage sale and buy individual papers that are more likely to get used too. But the most important thing is keeping those things together that you would use together. So try and just get it in the vicinity of the rest of your paper. Minerva says, how do I keep my wide ribbons which come on a roll? And so if you're a ribbon person with lots of rolls of ribbon, then just a dowel is a great way to store ribbon, just hanging on that dowel. And then just put it by theme. I think I probably talked about that before you posted the question, Minerva, so hopefully that made sense. I should get some pictures of ribbon spools there. So Leonie says, I was starting late watching. It's 5 a.m. in Australia. Well, we're happy that you just got up to join us. What is your email address? You can email me, Beth, at customerservice@thescraprack.com. I'm going to send that to everyone. And that way, if I don't actually get to answering your question, somebody else can, or they can forward it on to me if it's not if it's a question directly for me. Then Leonie asked me, can I watch the webinar again? Yes, the webinars are recorded and they're posted on that page on our website, the one that's at the very bottom, the link to the challenge page information, also the one I mentioned on the website. On the left-hand side of the website homepage. Wendy says, hi there, my first time online at the proper time. Way to go, Wendy. Claudia's got her little thank you, I won note. Louise says, I made a birthday card last night, golf-oriented, and it went so fast since I knew right where all the embellishments were. Thanks for inspiring me to be organized. And you're so welcome, Louise. I know. See, here's the thing. Even if you're just organizing a little bit, you don't have time to do everything. When you do craft in the process of organizing, you can see that benefit and how much more stuff you're going to use. So I'm totally excited. Thank you, Louise, for posting that. I just love that. I love those stories. Okay. Lorena says, I shared with a friend who has a ceramics business, and I hope it will help her too. Invite her to join the webinar. That's the thing, as I was talking about earlier. Once you start thinking about organization and thinking about it in terms of a system as opposed to just containerizing things, you'll be able to apply the things that you've learned in this challenge across all different areas of your home or your life or your business. So it's just kind of a different way of thinking about it. And you know how I told all of you guys to write down your goals and post your goals and share your goals and and let your family know what your goals are, because once you put it out there that you have this goal, it sort of makes you accountable to actually get it done, right? Because people will ask you about it, and you don't want to feel like a knucklehead and say, oh, I haven't done anything. You want to be moving forward and staying productive so that you can be positive when people ask you about that goal. So I'm telling all of you, I am announcing to all of you right here, right now, that I started writing my first book about organization this weekend when I was down at CHA, and my goal is to finish it in 6 months. So when CHA summer rolls around and you all hear about CHA summer, you'll know, Tiffany's supposed to be done with that book. We should email her and check in and make sure she's on track. So hopefully this is my putting it out there for everybody to know goal. And I would encourage all of you to tell people what your goals are and post them around your home, because it's so much easier to accomplish things when you create an expectation for yourself. So there we go. Sharon says, I have been cleaning up my stickers, die cuts, etc., and I can't believe how old some of this stuff is. Purging will be easier than I first thought. Way to go, Sharon. Kim says, I missed the first 2 webinars. Is there a link? Yes, we've answered that question, so I'm sure you have that information, and it will come back to you on the email as well. Leslie says, count me in for at least 3 sets of 10, please. Oh, for the bags. I will, Leslie, and I'll include the link. Karen's going to love me. I'll get that done and get it on the website and include a link to it on the website when I send out the email this afternoon. Terry says, check your local senior center for a place to donate your purged items. I've given my local senior center lots of quilt fabrics, and they may be able to use scrapbooking supplies too. And I actually do know that that is a big deal at the senior center, so it's a great place to donate. This is my first organizational system that makes me feel as though I can get control of my supplies. I not only scrap, but I'm also a mixed media artist. I alter books and make books, and I have an online store. Needless to say, I have supplies everywhere. I've already begun to make progress, and I feel like I can get back to creating again. There's no question here, just a thanks. And thank you so much for posting that, Carrie. It's true. I mean, it's debilitating to be unorganized, and then we get frustrated and it's not fun anymore. But if you're making a living with your crafting, then it's really so much more important to be able to access everything. So I'm so glad it's working for you. It's just such a simple, easy path to follow. So thanks for letting us know, Carrie. Hello, this is from Linda. Hello, I've been so busy unstorage my craft room. I haven't been able to begin the challenges. Craft room became a room to throw anything in and everything we had no place for. So now I'm trying to get all that stuff so I can begin the challenge. Really a big problem. Just keep working on it, Linda, and it's those baby steps. And, even if you have to box everything up in unlabeled boxes and put it somewhere else and just bring one box back into the room at a time, it'll be so much more productive than trying to move around through piles of stuff that don't belong there at all to get things organized. So sometimes the best thing to do is to get everything boxed up and moved out and bring in one box at a time and just work into that 4-section system. So if you're dealing with a lot of mess and lots of stuff, you might consider that as an option. Can you put the Ziploc bags right in your scrap rack? If so, where are those holes punched? There are no holes in the Ziploc bags. They're more designed for if you're using totes or something, or I think, as Leslie said, she just wanted to get everything into bags first by theme, and then take it out of the bags and then kind of do a resort on it there. So they don't actually. You might be able to stick a ring binder insert strip on it. And if you don't know what those are, I will include a link to those as well. I'm not sure how well they'll stick to the plastic bags, and the plastic bags are soft and kind of bendy, so I'm not sure it would be a good option. Lynn Miller says the 2-gallon Ziploc brand bag size works well. Carolyn's slides have caught up. I'm glad that's worked out. That's kind of a techie glitch there. Lori says, I have a ton of letter templates, collusal, etc. Do I store them in this week's challenge or later? Also, paper piecing templates. You can start sorting them as you come across them right into your 4-section system. We are going to talk a little bit about templates later. The templates do go right into the same 4 sections based on what they are. So I know some people, like lettering templates, obviously go in alphabet. And then some people have whole sections that are just shaped templates in their 4-section system. So you may need to just kind of think through that, like what's going to be the best theme or category for each of these, or do they need their own, like, shapes, circles, squares, triangles, whatever, maybe go in one section. But you can start sorting anything that you come across, and we'll talk more about it later, but it's all going to work into that 4-section system. Sharon says, I purchased the hefty Ziploc bags. They're 14 3/8 by 16 at Walmart. $12.99 or $2.99 for 12 bags, and they work great for fill by toilet paper. So there you have it. Would a D-ring scrapbook album, or this is from Amor, would a D-ring scrapbook album or two be sufficient for now to sort things into until I can get a scrap rack? Absolutely. One of the things about this whole system is, I mean, of course, we want everybody to have a scrap rack, right? I mean, obviously. And it is really a great tool, and it's simple, and it's easy, and it addresses all those concerns. But if you don't have one, just setting yourself up in a 4-section system, regardless of the tool, is going to be so helpful and make it so much easier. The other thing about it is, if you kind of ease into that 4-section system and you're using, 3-ring binders or file folders or whatever, you can really then see the benefit of a scrap rack. So when you do make the commitment or the investment, I guess, in a scrap rack, you're making a really educated decision. You've seen how the system works, and you can imagine in your mind even how much better it would be if it was actually in a scrap rack at your fingertips. So you can do it in anything. The 3-ring scrapbooks will work just fine, but you really will be able to see, to make that decision. So unlike buying some super cool tote or, some cute ribbon storage thing or whatever, that you're just going to fill, and then it's not going to really help you because it just becomes a container full of stuff again. Once you put your things in the 4-section system, you're really going to see the value and the benefits of putting them into a scrap rack. And so it really, any way you start with the 4-section system, you're going to be, whether it's a tote or a binder or whatever, you're just going to see so much benefit to it. So start with whatever you've got, or with whatever you can afford, or with whatever works for you, and test out the system, and then you will be very educated when you make your decision about a scrap rack. So absolutely. Laura says, you might want to keep products in their original packaging when you store them. If you submit pages to magazines or publications, you'll need to credit the source of the products and use. And that's a great point. So if design team or submission is something that you want to do or like to do, you're going to need that packaging so that you can obviously credit the source on what it is. So that's a great point, Laura. Sarah says, even better with your sheets, put the whole pack flat fitted pillowcase into one pillowcase, then grab the case and go. So there's another idea for your linens. What do you do with the rainbow eyelets you buy in one package? From Pam. Pam asked, what do you do? I'm sorry, I try to always say who's, so you know I'm reading a question and I get sidetracked. So there's a couple options with rainbow eyelets or anything like that that comes in a mixed package. One of the best options is that if you have children, to make them sort them out by color. But don't overthink this whole process, and don't spend time breaking things down and dividing things up. So in your rainbow section, at the back of the rainbow section we talked about, you're probably going to have a rainbow section. So if you've got a bunch of eyelets that are rainbow colors and you don't have the time to sort them out, just put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the rainbow section. You can go back there and find them. They're right there at your fingertips at the same time. It's ideal to be able to actually put things in by color, however. So if you can sort them in the moment or have a child sort them for you, that's a great way to go. But don't, unless everything is dialed in and perfect, don't worry. I guess that's the biggest thing. Don't worry about making mistakes or having things sort of slightly off or kind of guessing. Unless you're somebody who has minimal supplies, and in that case it's not going to be a challenge to sort them out, to sort of micro sort them, you're going to find what you need. You're going to have plenty of what you need. So put them where you're going to find them, where you're going to look for them, and so that they're just a flip away or a look away, and then you'll be able to find them when you need them. I wouldn't make my children sort them when I have children. Or your children might be dogs or cats, and they're not good sorters. Although I just stayed with a girlfriend when I was in LA, who I've known since the first day of the first grade, and she has a ferret now, and I've never been around a ferret, and it was very cool. It was a very cool little animal that's all potty trained and plays and does tricks and the whole 9 yards. It was fun. Marla says, I have sorted 3 containers of embellish so far while listening to you today. Way to go, Marla. You're almost done even with your challenge. That means you can get a lot done this week. Patricia says, what is the best package for a person to get started on a budget? I have nothing to organize but want a scrap rack, just the basics to get started. I would just start with the Get Started package then, Marla. I mean, it just gives you some pages and some dividers and the base unit, and then you can sort the things that you have now right into it, get your 4-section system established, and then you can add pages as you need them. One of the things about the design concept with the scrap rack is that it's always the same. We started in 2003. We've never made a product that didn't work with the products that were already existing. So the nice thing is you can start small with that Get Started package, and then you can just add pages as you need them. And you can add other things. Anything that's got a standard 3-hole punch is going to work. So, you know, other products come also in with a standard 3-hole punch. I know some of the stamp sets come on a sheet that's got a standard 3-hole punch, so you can incorporate those right in. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Scrap Rack brand product that goes into that. It could just be anything that's got a standard 3-hole punch. So start with the Get Started package and then just add on as you need. Sarah says, I scan and copy the cover of the pad showing what is in it and then put that copy of my scrap rack in the appropriate theme. So that's a great idea. I know we talked a little bit about that last week, and so going back to people who have stacks of paper, you know, if you copy the cover, put it in whatever theme or category it belongs in, and then a little note on it about where to find it, then you'll be able to get better use out of those stacks again. So thanks for bringing that up, Sarah. Great. Merle says, tip, I take 1 yard of each of my ribbons and put that in my rack. This gives me enough to have 2 12-by-12 pieces. So that's a great way, too. And Merle's a junkie. She has lots and lots of everything. And sorry, Merle, I don't think she'll mind me saying that, though. She says it herself, I guess. But so she's got a great idea of just taking a yard of ribbon and putting it right into your scrap rack. And then you have what you need in the moment that you're scrapbooking, and then you can go back once you've used it and you know, cut another length of it off and put it into your scrap rack. So great suggestion, Merle. How about embossing folders and die cuts? I've been making samples of each and putting them in the scrap rack. Now I'm wondering if I should just put the embossing folder and dies in the scrap rack. Why not, Sarah? Throw them right in there. They actually fit in there just fine. I know, and there's also some articles on the website about like spellbinder size and those kind of things and how to incorporate them in. So I don't want to use up too much time talking about it today because we are going to talk about those things in a future webinar, but there are some articles on the website. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The more you can get in there, then the more you can get to. Now, if you have 100 embossing folders, you could probably fill, you know, half a scrap rack with them. Then exactly what Sarah's doing is a great choice. Give each embossing folder a number. Make a sample or a couple samples depending on what it is. If it's something that might work in a variety of themes, write the number on it. Put it in your scrap rack. And when you come out, say it's one that's a music theme. Well, when you're working on your kids' recital, that little music, you know, sample is going to pop up with a number on it. This is embossing folder number 12. You can go right to your box of embossing folders, pull out number 12, use it. When you're done with it, you put it right back where it belongs. So we're going to get into that in one of the next webinars, but there is information on the website. G. McBride said, managed to make it, 7 a.m. in New Zealand. Welcome from New Zealand. Lorena says, congrats on starting your book. Wow, very aggressive goal. Yes, so Crystal says, whoa, I can't wait to purchase your book. Now you are accountable to us, your fans. I know, and that's my goal. So please feel free to harass me and ask about it or whatever, and I'll try to keep you all posted on, you know, where I am with progress. So right now I wrote that outline for it, the chapter outline. So I think it's 10 short chapters. And so I did the chapter outline this weekend while I was flying back and forth from CHA. So please feel free to harass me about that. Melissa says, is the Resolution Power Pack only available through January? Yes. I believe it'll drop off the website. It's today the 31st at midnight tonight. So if there's something, if you want that, and for some reason you can't do it now, just let me know. I'm sure we can work with you, but it'll probably drop off the website tonight at midnight. So you may just have to email us and say, I want the power pack. So Jeannie says, so enjoying these webinars, Tiffany. Thank you so much. Joined a tad late. Did you mention CHA at the beginning? How did it go? Did you see any new trends you want to share? Not that any of us need any new ones. I'll tell you, there wasn't a lot of new things at CHA. Like sometimes there's some like wow thing that everyone looks at. I will tell you, I found 2 super cool things. 2? Is that all? No, I found a couple more than 2 actually. One of them is a cutting system, like a not a cutting system, but just like a paper trimmer. But it has 9 different blades, but it's really compact, and so you can cut different cuts, like curves and zigzags and that kind of thing. And the other one is this really cool kind of a staple thing, and they're both. I bought them. I just bought a few of them to share on the website because I just thought they were so cool. So they're going to go up in our cool tools section. But really what I saw a lot of were things that, tools more like improvements in scissors and improvements in cutting systems. And then there didn't seem to be any big wow paper thing. Of course, Graphic 45 has some new papers out that are beautiful, but they're Graphic 45, so they look the same as everything else they've done. Beautiful. I'm not discounting that they're beautiful, but it wasn't like something shocking and exciting that you hadn't seen before. I saw this other thing that it's called Shoe Attitude, and you can see it at shoeattitude.com. And what you do is it's these sheets of plastic, for lack of a better word, that you can print on. You reverse the image and print on them. And then you use a glue stick and this printed plastic. And I have teenage boys, so shoes are a big deal. But you use a glue stick and this printed plastic, and you can put that image right on your shoe. So it can be an image of yourself, like a photograph, and it's perfect. The quality of it is perfect. It literally looks like there's a photograph that was manufactured on your shoe. But you could put like Go Team or, your school colors or your school logo on your shoe. And I just thought anybody that's doing this 3-day breast cancer walk, that it would be really cool for your team to put something on your shoes that was all, team related or whatever. So that's really cool. And it's shoeattitude.com, and it's a Kodak product. You can order it online from them. It's like $20 for 6 sheets or whatever. So that was a cool thing. Not really a scrapbook thing, but especially if you have kids that are into shoes, as teenage boys are, it was really a neat thing. So that was cool. And what else did I see that was cool? Tim Holtz has a bunch of new stuff out. Ooh, there's a new stamp thing coming out. Boy, I don't think it's coming till summer. That is this like a, who has that? I'm trying to remember where it was. EK Success. It's a cog and stamps. So I can't even explain it. I'll tell you what, though. I'll find their video or some information online and post it for all of you who stamp. It was a super cool thing, and they were creating beautiful things really quickly and really easily with it. And even myself, and I'm kind of the all-thumbs stamper, I was able to create with it really quickly and really easily. Sometimes you see those tools at the show, and they're just, they look so good with the demonstrator, but when you try to use them, and there were a few of those that I stopped and tried to use, and it's like, this is not as simple as you're making it look. But this particular thing was super cool, and you could use it with other stamps other than their stamps too. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm going to track it. It was by Inkadoo. I think it's a new Inkadoo product. So it may not be up on their website because they're not even going to have it till this summer, and they were just kind of previewing it at the show. But it was really cool. So I'll look around and see if I can include some links to stuff in the emails that come out, just so you know. Lisa says, this is not a question, just thank you. I want to tell you a huge thank you for this class. It makes sense. I'm a natural binder woman myself. Everything in my office is binders, so your system is perfect for me. I'm a classic example of someone who gets paralyzed because every time I want to do a page, I get so flustered because I can't find the supplies. By the time I found the supplies, my allotted time for crafting is over. So I'm glad. I'm so glad. It's so, I know, it makes me so happy to see that. Sidetracked home executive, Claudia uses. I'm going to have to check that out. Good luck with your book, she says. Donna says, just so you know, I am overwhelmed with stuff and I never throw anything away, but I am sorting as you speak and throwing things away and purging. Yay, Donna! Minerva says, I'm using small baggies for the small stuff and using two-way tape at the back of the bags and place them on a 12 by 12 page neatly. Good job. That works perfect. Sandy says, I sew as well as paper craft. Do I want to have a separate craft rack or whatever for each? It just depends. If you're using a scrap rack for sewing, some things relate both, buttons, ribbon, those kind of things. If you're talking about storing patterns using a scrap rack, there's some great ways to do that. We have one gal posted somewhere on the website. I guess I don't want to talk too much about sewing everybody's here, but there are multiple ways. If you have questions, please email me directly so I don't use up everybody's time talking about things that don't apply kind of across the board. There are a lot of ways to use it for sewing, so email me, and I'm happy to share the ideas that have been shared with me. I don't sew, but I have a lot of information for people using scrap racks that do so. Louise says, I'm glad the scrap rack is a 3-ring binder type since yesterday I found some 3-hole punch zipper pouches on clearance at Walmart for 50 cents and I was able to use them. So it's perfect, and that's one of the reasons we used this standard 3-hole punch was so that you could incorporate things that you didn't, that weren't necessarily our brand, but that were out there in the market. Tracy says, scrap racks rule. They're so worth the money. I have always been organized, which is one of the reasons I love the scrap rack. It's awesome. Thank you, Tracy. And Nancy says, if we're just joining you today, can we catch up? Yes, you'll get a link to the previous information in the email that comes out this afternoon. Evelyn says, I gathered baskets to sort by color. I tied a short length of that color ribbon to the basket, then I just tossed everything into the basket. A great way to do your sorting, not a template, but a basket. The baskets are nice, too, because you can move them around. So that's a great idea. Sharon says, I assume that screen has not changed for the last 20 minutes or so. Is that correct? I was not able to sign in for until 1:30 Eastern time. So, yes, Sharon, it's just been sitting there while I've been answering questions. Lorena says, I love Merle. So I love Merle, too, Lorena. She has great ideas. Tracy Smith says, sorry, I meant to say that I started with one and wanted to add another. Well, I was looking at my units, and where I thought I had 3 and wanted another, I have 4, not 3. All I can say is bye-bye the scrap racks. I love them, Tracy. Thank you so much. Okay, Brianna says, I have been so great in doing everything but having a hard time sorting pictures, especially online ones. I have so many websites I use to store photos. How can I even start? We are going to talk about photos in a couple of webinars down the line. There's some information on the website if you want to kind of get a jump on it, Brianna, but we are going to talk about that later. So if you can wait, then we're going to cover it in a couple of weeks. Joyce says, what are the cutter trimmers called that you just bought? I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called Craft Geek or something. I was just looking around to see if I had the paperwork next to me. But I will get some images up on the website. I think they're called Craft Geek, G-E-E-K, I think. P. Kent says, as you go through your paper scrap, you have created negatives that might be used to donate also. Oh, that's a great point. So just because you have a punch out in a paper scrap doesn't mean that it's not useful. It might work as a negative or a frame or something for some other project. What is the best way to store 8x8 paper? Linda Harris asked. The best way to store 8x8 paper is to store it with your 12x12 paper. So don't worry that it's not the same size. See, this is another myth that's sort of been put upon us by the industry, that you have to keep these paper sizes sorted separately, but you don't. So whether you're using a paper storage box or file folders or a rack, just put that paper right in with the color or the theme or whatever that it belongs with. You might be able to use that 8x8 paper in a 12x12 album, and if you keep the two separately, or you might be able to use it on a card or whatever. So if you separate those things out, you're going to forget that you have it and you're not going to use it. So put all that stuff together, even your scraps. All right, and our last message is from Merle, and she says, thank you, Lorena. So that concludes the webinar for today. Get busy on your challenges this week. I will get this video uploaded and posted. So for those of you who joined late or want to rewatch it, it'll be up on the website. Again, if you think you're not getting the emails, now the emails with the webinar links in them come from a different system. So just because you're getting the ones for the webinar doesn't mean that you've got the ones for that are our personal email address. So if you're concerned about that, click into the website, pick the video with Christine and I. At the bottom of that page is a great big box that says join our email list, and just put your information in there, and that'll verify to our system that you really want to get emails from us and that we won't be spamming you. So, all right, ladies, so you have your task at hand. You have your challenge for the week to sort those containers, do a little more paper sorting, make sure you have an organized only space, and post to Facebook or send me an email about your progress so you can win like Claudia did this week. So keep up the good work. You guys are exciting and inspiring to me. You can kind of tell I get so excited when I teach this class. I'm such a goofball. But, so get busy. Have a great week. Have a productive week. And I will see you all next Tuesday.